What is going on, fellow game developers? My name is Muddy Wolf, and in today's video we are finally going to be adding upgrades to our turrets. So we need to start off on the actual turrets. What we're going to do, double click to open this up. If we go to scene view, we can actually see the turret. Now we need the UI to actually handle this, so we're going to create a new canvas, which we are just going to call, well, we're just going to leave it a canvas, that's fine. Let's change this to the UI layer, because this will be important for later on. And what we want to do is change this to world space. Now I'm going to set this to something like 300 by 100 and set this to be about 0.001. We also need to turn on, and then obviously we need to set this back at 0, 0, so it's back here, and I seem to have made this one too many there, and there you go. Now let's change this to probably be about 200 by 150. That seems about right. We just need to just slightly cover over this, which should be fine. Then we'll create a UI image, which will just be our background. Now on our canvas, we want to change the sorting layer to UI. Now if you don't have this, you want to go to add sorting layer and just add a new layer here. Then in canvas, we can go back here and just select the UI layer. This will make it sit above everything else. And then on our background, we could just make sure it fits everything. Now I'm going to make the background slightly transparent and make it black. Now on top of this, what we want to do is create a button, which we are just going to call the upgrade button. And this is just essentially going to be a simple button. We'll set this to 50 in height and also about 180 to make it come up to the edges of the area. And then in our text, we're just going to say upgrade. Now this is what it's going to look like when we open this menu to actually see our upgrade button. So let's first work on actually toggling the upgrade and being able to click it. So the first thing we want to do is go to our turret, double click this to open it up inside Official Studio Code. And what we want to do is get a reference straight to our UI element. So we'll call this private game object, and we're just going to call this the upgrade UI. We then also want a reference to a private button, which we are going to be called the upgrade button. Now make sure this says button and not tab button. This is going to throw an error because we need to have Unity Engine .UI as well. This will allow us to actually select the button. Now down here towards the bottom of the page, we're just going to put in a new private void. Well, actually let's make this a public void so we can access this outside of the class, and we want to make this the open UI, or sorry, upgrade UI. Then what we want to do is say upgrade UI dot set active and set this equal to true, and then we want another public void called close upgrade UI, which we will be using later, called upgrade UI dot set active equal to false. Now we need to head into our plot script here, and on mouse down where we have if tower is not equal to null, then return, we actually want to add in some additional functionality here. So inside of this, we still want to return. However, we want to do something before we return. Now we actually need to get reference to our tower here, but we want the tower script. So we're going to rename this to tower object, which we can then select and pass it down here and in here. We then want to get a reference to our actual tower, or turret, sorry, script, which is going to be called turret. Then when we actually get our tower object, we want to set the turret equal to tower object dot get component turret, like this. Then inside of our tower here, we want to say turret dot open upgrade UI. Back in Unity, what we can do is come out of here and let's just go to our turret, sorry, one last time, our turret prefab, and let's just turn off the canvas here. And also in our turret, we want to set the new blank thing. So let's set the upgrade button and the canvas here. Let's just rename this to upgrade UI. Oh, that should be UI and not U. There we go, just so it all matches. And there you go, make sure they're set inside of your turret script as well. Now, if we hit play, we should be able to place a turret, then select it to open up the upgrade menu, which we can select here. However, this isn't actually going to do anything, and you can see we can't close them once we have placed the turrets. But these just stay open forever, so we need to work on some code to close these. Before we work fully on the close system, I just want to show you, once we place a turret and select it, you'll see there's an upgrade, but we can actually still select the items behind this panel, which means we can click the button and still place turrets accidentally at the same time, which we don't want to do. So we need to come up with a feature to stop selecting the plot if we are focusing on our upgrade item. Now, to do that, we're going to need a few different things. Now, the first thing we're going to need is if we go to our turret again and our upgrade UI, we're going to add in an upgrade, or let's call this the upgrade UI handler. And let's open this up in Visual Studio Code, and inside of here we have a few things we want to do. The first thing is we actually want to pass in the I pointer, if I can spell correctly, I pointer enter handler, which comes from the using Unity engine.event systems. So we need to make sure that is also imported. And then we also need the I pointer exit handler. These two handlers are going to handle our opening or whether we're hovering over a UI element or not. So to do that, we just want a private bool to start with, which we're going to be called a mouse over, which we'll set equal to false. We'll then create an update method where we check if mouse over, and we're just going to debug.log if mouse is over, and then we can even pass in this .name. Or just name in this case, because that should also work. This is just to let us know that the mouse over event is working. We'll remove this once we're done. We then want a public void, which we're going to call on pointer enter, which we're going to pass through a pointer event data called event data. And then inside of here, we're going to set mouse over equal to true, because that means we've entered. Then we can just duplicate this, change this to exit, and then change this to false. And we also want to make sure this is set to public so we can access this elsewhere. Now, what I'm also going to do is we are going to go back to our Unity instance. And now you can see mouse over down on the right here. Now what we want to do is just come out of here and hit play to see if this is working. So now you can see here nothing's happening, but if we place a turret and open this up, you can see we get the mouse over UI upgrade here, which is called over and over again until we stop moving. So you can see we're no longer getting any logs, but if I hover back over this, you can see we start getting logs again. So this is going to let us know when we hover over this. Now we just need to set a variable in an accessible place that tells us we can select UI underneath. So back in our code, let's just remove this update function that tells us if it's over, and that will be fine there. We then want to go to Unity and go to our level manager and add a UI handler script. So we're just going to create a UI or a UI manager, which will work better. Now in here, we just want to set a public static UI manager called main, and then in an awake function, we are just going to say main is equal to this. This will let us use this script in other scripts as well. Now we need a private boolean here, which we are going to call is hovering UI. And by default, this is going to be set to false so we can select things. But then we need a public void called set hovering state, where we will pass through a boolean which will say state. We'll then set is hovering UI equal to the state. We then want to create a public boolean called is hovering UI, like this, which will then just say return is hovering UI. Now inside of our upgrade handler, what we want to do is when we enter our mouse onto, we want to go UI manager .main.set hovering state, and we're just going to pass through true. We're then going to also copy this and set to false when we hover over our pointer exit here. So when we leave this area, we're going to basically set this to false. And then inside of our plot, we can actually check if, here, we can say if UI manager, if UI manager.main.is hovering UI, then return, because that means we're hovering over the UI and not the actual tower, so we want to return. We don't want be able to click any of these when there's UI around. Now we also want to go in here, and when we leave this event, we just want to set the game object.set active to false as well. This will close the UI for us immediately. So let's have a look how this works. You can see it's there, we can click here, but if we click behind, it's not clicking any of these, it's not adding a new turret until we come off, and then we can select. So we can't actually click anything, but when we leave this, it'll be here, so we can click upgrade, or we can just leave it like this, which is a really easy way to do it. Obviously this UI is very ugly, and you're probably going to want to make this look a lot better, but this is what we're going to use for now. So now we can open our UI and actually select it. How do we actually upgrade each turret? Well, that's the fun part. So inside of our turret, where we have open upgrade UI and close upgrade UI, we also need the public void called upgrade turret, or just upgrade, either one works. I'm just going to leave it at upgrade, and then inside of here we're going to upgrade our turret, but we're going to need a few variables. One of them is a private integer called level, which we're going to set to level 1 by default. Now this is going to be the level of upgrades we've applied to our turret. We then want to change all of our variables here to actually have base variables and not just be set straight away like this. So what we want to do is create a base variable. Under here we can set private float BPS base. We can then also have a private float targeting range base. Now I'm not going to upgrade the rotation speed. I think this works fine. I don't think we need to change that at all. And here you go. I think it needs to work fine. So if we now go to a start, we could set our BPS base equal to BPS, and also our targeting range our targeting range base equal to our targeting range. We can then go down into upgrade, and now what we want to do is go level. Well, we actually want to check if we can afford to upgrade, which is another thing we actually need. So in our serialized private integer, we're going to put the base cost down here, which we're going to set to about 100 by default. Now in our upgrade, we want to say if base cost is, or base, let's rename this as well to base upgrade cost, just so it's more relevant to what we're doing. And we're going to say if this is greater than our level manager.main.currency, then return, because we don't want to buy it if we can't afford it. We then want to say, if so, we're going to say level manager, if we can afford it, then level manager.main.spend currency, and we're going to put we actually need to change this from base upgrade cost to actually be the cost of the upgrade here, because this isn't always going to be a base upgrade cost. So we need to create a private function here called private integer called calculate costs. Now in here, what we want to do is return our base upgrade cost times math.power. We also want to put this in a math f.round to integer, because this will give us back a float. And what we want to do is pass in our level to the power of, and then we're going to upgrade this by about 0.8f. So every single time we come round, this is the factor it's going to upgrade in cost. So every level will make it more expensive. And now we can pass this calculate cost into both our systems here, which will let us know that this is the cost. Now once we have paid for it, we want to upgrade our base level, and then we just want to say our BPS is equal to, and then we want to calculate a new BPS. Now to do that, we are just going to create another private float thing called calculate BPS, which we are going to do basically the exact same thing here. This is not going to be rounded to an int. It's not going to be rounded at all. So we can actually remove the edges here. And then inside here, we're going to change this to our BPS base, times that by a level. And in this one, we want to say about 0.5. So we're only going to go up a little bit each time for our bullets per second, but we can pass that here. We then want to get our targeting range and set that equal to a calculate, or we'll just call it calculate range here, which we'll put down here. So private float calculate range, and again this will do the same thing as our BPS here, and this will just be changed to targeting range base times our level, and this one I'm going to put at 0.4, and I'm going to swap this one to be 0.6. So these ones are going to go up in slightly different increments, and the cost will go up a lot quicker than the actual BPS will, or also the range. And that should be it for upgrading our turrets. This should make them actually a bit more useful. Also, once we have clicked upgrade, we want to call close upgrade UI, because we're going to want to close the UI after we've upgraded as well. Now, in our start method, we also want one more thing. We actually want to say our upgrade button on click add listener, and what we're going to pass in is the upgrade method here to allow it, so when we do click it, it will make this function, or will run this function upgrade. Now, just to know this is working, I'm just going to debug log our new BPS, which we're going to set to BPS, and I'm basically going to do this for all the different things. So we're going to say DPS, targeting range, and finally I also want to know the new cost. And the cost should be our calculate cost function here. And there you go. This will tell us the current BPS, targeting range, and the cost it's going to require to get the next upgrade. So let's go back to our game and see if this is working. Let's hit play and see what happens. So in here, we'll just go build a turret, then instantly we're going to upgrade it. You can see the new cost is now 174, and you can see its stats have been upgraded. Now we can actually add another turret here, and there is a bug. So now we can't actually click anything because we closed the UI within our turret script. So in here, we just actually need to set our UI manager .main.set hovering state to false. This should reset state, and let's hit play and see if this works. Here we go. So now we can place our basic turret, click this and click upgrade. Now, if we try to select this, it says you can't afford this tower, which means it's actually working. And there you go. We can now place a second turret here, and it's actually working. Now we can select this and upgrade again. You're going to see that the new cost is now 241, but the BPS is a lot higher. So you can see this is shooting a lot quicker, and we can keep upgrading, although this costs now too much. So we can upgrade a basic one easily like this. So this one should now be shooting a lot quicker than the previous. You can see the new BPS is 5.2. You can see these ones are a lot quicker than this default one here. You can also see if we select the turret, you can actually see its targeting range if you've got gizmos on, and you can see it's a lot larger than the base ones as well. So now it can reach a lot further, which makes it a lot stronger in the game. And guys, that's going to be it for upgrading your turrets. Now, I know I have missed something out, and you guys probably noticed I haven't done the slow-mo tower yet, because this is going to be slightly different. However, the method is the exact same. So if you want to apply a upgrade function to your slow-mo turret, all you have to do is run the exact same thing as we did here, and also add in the UI and everything else along that. So guys, this is going to end this series. I want to do more videos on this, but this is going to be the end of my own ideas and what I think should go into a 2D tower defense game. I want you guys to let me know down in the comments if you want to see more videos on tower defense, and if you do, tell me what sort of videos you're looking for. If it's to do with audio, if you want to have in more turrets or some special types of turrets, if you want me to upgrade all the UI and the assets and show you all this, please let me know what you want to see down below in the comments. But for now, I'm not going to be making any more videos until you guys tell me that you want more and there's more that you want to see in this series, because basically I've hit the point where my creativity is So that's going to be the end of this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It really helps me, and I'll be starting a new series soon. So don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you know when it goes live. Also, leave a comment down below if you have any questions or you want to know what's next in the series, or you want to tell me what you want to see next in the series. Just let me know down below. Don't forget to join the Discord server. The Discord server is full of awesome people like you guys, and you can join a special game dev role which gives you access to the game dev channels where we can talk about anything you want game dev. So guys, don't forget to jump on the Discord channel, and that's going to be it for this. So I will speak to you in the next one. Peace out.